20 years have passed since a cataclysmic disaster known as the Shift transformed the Earth. This planet, once a paradise for human beings and animals alike, has become a nightmare. A swirling vortex of storms, fires, and eruptions that threatens to devour what little life remains. And yet, life does remain. Animals, certain indefatigable species, have proven themselves able to adapt in ways humans could not.
Away. The Survival series is an indie game developed and published by the Canadian studio Breaking Walls. Has been released on September 28, 2021 for PC, PS4 and PS5, and will be coming to Xbox One in the future. The studio is made up of industry veterans who have worked on various AAA titles such as Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia and Far Cry, and has been working on the title for 5 years. There aren't many things in this increasingly divisive world that everyone can agree on, but the Planet Earth documentary series is one of them. Who doesn't love watching animals do weird things in 4K while David Attenborough narrates in his unique style? What if you could act in one of the Planet Earth episodes, eat or be eaten, instead of watching the action unfold? This is Away, the Survival series, using a mechanic present in other survival genre titles. We must attend to basic needs such as hunger and health, both for our protagonist and his family, for which we have an abundant variety of flora and fauna to feed on, as well as compete with other species with whom we share our habitat. We frequently encounter lizards, birds, snakes, spiders, fish, and other mammalian species that can coexist with us peacefully, but can also become threats.
The glider's whole body is adapted for the high life of the forest canopy. Opposable thumbs on his hind feet allow him to clasp branches and perform wonderful feats of acrobatics. With his gliding membrane, he can defy gravity itself and float on the air like a piece of paper, at least in theory. An excellent first attempt. The young glider has soared successfully from one of the island's trees to another, despite the dizzying drop in between. But the energy extended in this first glide has left him famished. Perhaps it's time to stop for a snack.
The game further places us inside this documentary through the narrator and his script, who accompany us throughout the journey and become important characters in the narrative, making the experience even more appealing to lovers of nature documentaries. Throughout the narrative, it is possible to unlock other animals that can be controlled, each with their own specific characteristics and controls, bringing variety to the gameplay and another perspective to the island on which the game takes place, which even has a very mysterious context, where it is affected by various natural disasters and has some enigmatic traces left by them. In the game, we play as one particular sugar glider, a small marsupial that is essentially part possum and part flying squirrel. After a series of adventures, you venture out into the wide and dangerous world alone to rescue your kidnapped mother and sister. If you're expecting realism or want to learn a lot about the sugar gliders, you'll be disappointed. Sure, the protagonist doesn't talk, but the game constantly attributes human problem-solving skills and emotions. Surprisingly, the game doesn't have any particularly strong environmental messages. As you explore, it becomes clear that this is a world of post-human civilization, but despite the marketing, it's not very clear that the end of humanity was caused by the end results of global warming or any other contemporary environmental problems. At one point, you come across a giant whale skeleton washed ashore. Later, you come across a massive fire tornado. Whatever mysterious disaster has befallen the planet, it's an apocalypse rooted in no particular reality. The game isn't necessarily educational, but the experience in it is rewarding. The game's graphics reveal its indie origins. The sugar glider is cute in a slightly rat-like way. More than any other game I've played lately, Away also relies heavily on the auditory experience. The narrative really works, it really keeps you hooked in the game, as the voice acting sounds like Attenborough's from Away, the voice actor being Andrew Robinson.
Up ahead, a scorpion. This creepy crawler wields a dangerous weapon, a toxic stinger that could kill the glider with a single jab. And this striking fiend won't let the glider go without a fight. This gutsy Joey has a battle on his hands.
The game does a surprisingly good job of always delivering the right narrative at the right time, with very little slippage at times. I really think the game would be a lot less engaging without the narrative voice, and I wouldn't mind if other games supported this idea. Meanwhile, the game's soundtrack, created by Planet Earth Humming to composer Mike Rasnick, does an excellent job of setting the mood and ratcheting up the tension when needed. Unfortunately, the clunky controls often lead to the game being more difficult than interesting, and even annoying. Your little sugar glider's jumps are unpredictable, and gliding is difficult to manage, making any kind of precision movement almost impossible. Frustration peaks towards the end of the game, when you're forced to jump between several burning trees, as the tangle of branches is difficult to navigate and prevents automatic jumps. True, Away's difficulty level is low enough that you won't be frustrated by anything for too long, but make no mistake, the game gets harder and harder. The game has a story of about 4 hours and feels long enough to me. Once you finish the story, there is an open world area that you can freely explore. You can also tackle this by accessing Explore mode. This feels a little closer to a survival simulator than some might have hoped, but you quickly get bored of it because aside from controlling various animals and playing a few snippets of the story, there simply isn't much to do in the open world. Still, Away sticks to the concept of a nature documentary. The game manages to provide a simple, cinematic adventure, but clunky controls and a general lack of polish end up spoiling the atmosphere at times. The game can be addictive at times, especially if you're an animal lover, but you may find it more satisfying to watch a few episodes of Planet Earth. Still, it managed to grab my attention and make me play it. If you like the review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon for notification. Also visit our website for more reviews. Till next time.